Nen inscription is an advanced and highly mysterious form of using Nen. It involves infusing symbols, scripts, and intricate engravings with aura directly onto physical objects to enforce powerful conditions, vows, or restrictions. You can think of it almost like permanently casting a spell onto an item, binding the Nen into the material itself so the effect lasts even without the user's constant presence. This technique allows Nen users to create objects that behave according to strict rules long after the original user has moved on. The mechanics behind inscription are still pretty mysterious even to longtime fans of the series. It seems to work similarly to creating automated Nen traps or programmed effects, but it's uniquely tied to the physical object rather than the user's ongoing aura output. We first encounter this technique early in the series, back in chapter 51 of the manga, when Wing gives Gon a simple string and instructs him not to use Nen for 2 full months, while he focuses on building his foundational skills. Later, in chapter 56, the moment Gon finally activates his aura again after the training period, the string snaps instantly. Wing calmly explains that he had inscribed the string with Nen, so it would break the second Gon broke his promise. This served as both a reminder and a clever automatic monitoring tool that didn't require Wing to be present. The second major appearance of inscription comes in chapter 65 during the Greed Island arc. Gon and Killua are desperately trying to open an unbreakable iron box that Ging left behind specifically for his son. No matter how much raw power Killua applies with his advanced assassin training and superhuman strength, the box refuses to open at all. However, the instant Gon channels even a small amount of his Nen, the entire box dramatically breaks apart into several separate engraved plates. It turns out those plates were covered in inscriptions similar to the one on Wing's string, reacting specifically to the presence of aura. Inside the box is another item with similar engravings, a ring. Killua quickly guesses that it's tied to Greed Island's safety system, which prevents unauthorized access and controls how the game's abilities function. From these examples, we can see that inscriptions serve multiple important purposes. They can make ordinary objects far stronger and more durable than their materials would naturally suggest. They can also trigger very specific events or reactions when certain conditions, like exposure to Nen, are met. But interestingly, not everything with inscriptions simply breaks or destroys when Nen is used. The rings players receive to enter Greed Island, for example, don't shatter. Instead, they enable powerful in-game abilities such as conjuring the book or executing special commands like gain. This proves that inscriptions can do much more than just reinforce or break objects. They can embed complex rules, automate effects, and even interface with larger Nen constructs, almost functioning like a programming language written in aura. Later in the series, in chapter 342, we see Beyond Netero wearing special handcuffs covered in inscriptions while he's imprisoned. Given how ridiculously strong Beyond is and how easily he could break normal restraints, these inscribed cuffs are clearly designed to restrict his ability to use Nen, as long as he's in possession of the engraved object. This gives us a fascinating glimpse into how the Hunter Association might handle dangerous Nen-using criminals, who would otherwise be almost impossible to contain through conventional means. It raises questions about whether inscriptions could be used on a larger scale in the future, perhaps in artifacts from the Dark Continent, or as part of major vows and restrictions in upcoming arcs. Hisoka's past. Hisoka's past remains one of the biggest and most carefully guarded mysteries in the entire Hunter x Hunter series. Yoshihiro Togashi has deliberately kept his backstory shrouded in mystery to preserve the dangerous, unpredictable, and enigmatic nature of his character. However, in June of 2016, Sui Ishida, the creator of Tokyo Ghoul, released an official one-shot prequel that focuses on Hisoka's origin story. Togashi himself recognized the story, though whether it is fully considered canon is still up for debate among fans and remains a frequent topic of discussion in the community. The story is set in Glam Gasland, a vibrant and spectacle-filled location. A young Hisoka is discovered on the streets by Moritonio, the ringmaster of a traveling circus troupe. Impressed by Hisoka's incredible magical skills and natural talent for performance, Moritonio decides to bring him into the troupe. Hisoka quickly stands out with his outstanding juggling, dexterity, and stage presence, becoming one of the star performers almost immediately. Meanwhile, a brutal serial killer known as John Doe, or 100 Faces, is on the loose and causing chaos in the area. As time goes on, Moritonio starts teaching Hisoka about Nen. Being the prodigy that he is, Hisoka picks it up extremely fast, mastering basic and advanced techniques that would normally take years for most people to learn. Things escalate dramatically when another circus performer named Abaki gets attacked by John Doe after she accidentally witnesses him in the middle of a crime. Hisoka steps in and saves her, but he immediately senses that something about the entire situation isn't right. After a major performance at the Royal Glam Hotel, Hisoka confronts Moritonio directly and accuses him of being the serial killer, John Doe. Moritonio admits it without hesitation. He reveals a dark and twisted past in which he killed his own sister purely for the thrill of it. He explains that he created the circus as a way to satisfy his dark urges in what he claims is a less harmful manner, but he still couldn't fully resist hurting people. He then demonstrates his Nen ability called Scarf Ace, which allows him to swap faces with others, explaining exactly how he has been getting away with the murders for so long. The confrontation quickly turns into a fierce and deadly fight. Moritonio attacks using his blood magnet power, launching magnetic bars at Hisoka. However, Hisoka reveals his own newly developed Nen ability, Bungee Gum, which possesses the unique properties of both rubber and gum. With incredible skill and creativity, Hisoka turns the attack back onto Moritonio and finishes him off. In the end, Hisoka changes Moritonio's face to the one he wore while attacking Abaki, framing him as John Doe before calmly leaving the scene. While Ishida's version adds a lot of depth and darkness to Hisoka's early life, and explains some of his theatrical personality, whether it is 100% canon or not, remains a topic of discussion. Still, it gives us a rare and chilling look into the origins of one of the series' most fascinating and dangerous characters. Journey to the New World, West Edition. Journey to the New World is a legendary journal written by Don Freecss more than 300 years ago about his solo travels deep into the Dark Continent. He explored the mysterious Mobius shoreline and documented everything he encountered in 2 separate volumes, the East Edition and the West Edition. Only the East Edition has ever been discovered. Copies of it are carefully stored in the basement of the International Permit Agency, and the book has become almost mythical among explorers, hunters, and scholars. It offers incredibly valuable insight into the Dark Continent, including detailed information on the 5 threats that humanity brought back from there, as well as descriptions of strange creatures, environments, and phenomena that still baffle modern researchers. The West Edition, however, has never been found. Ging Freecss has an intriguing theory. He believes Don might actually still be alive and actively writing the 2nd volume, even after all these centuries. This idea becomes much more plausible when we remember that Don knew about nitro rice, a special grain from the Dark Continent that can significantly extend a person's lifespan. If that's true, Don could still be out there somewhere, continuing to explore the uncharted western parts of the Dark Continent. The West Edition could potentially contain even more dangerous threats, unknown calamities, and incredible treasures than what was described in the Eastern volume. It's still unclear exactly how the International Permit Agency obtained the East Edition, or where it was originally found, but some fans speculate that Don may have intentionally published or sent it back to the known world before heading back to complete the 2nd edition. The possibility that Don is still alive and actively exploring makes the mystery of the West Edition even more exciting and raises the stakes for any future expeditions to the Dark Continent. Gon's mother. The identity of Gon's mother has been one of the most interesting and long-running topics of discussion in the Hunter x Hunter fanbase. It feels very intentional that Togashi has kept so much intrigue around Gon's biological mother, never showing her or giving many direct details throughout the story. One popular theory suggests that Gon's mom could have been a highly skilled hunter herself. This would help explain why Gon's bright, determined, and somewhat reckless personality feels quite different from Ging's more detached and freedom-obsessed nature. It could also account for Gon's unusually strong Nen abilities and why he developed so quickly and powerfully for his age, possibly inheriting talent from both parents. However, the wildest and most debated theory involves the pregnancy stone card from Greed Island, a card that was actually designed by Ging himself. This special card allows any player, regardless of gender, to become pregnant simply by carrying a specific stone for 1 month. Players can even choose the baby's gender by selecting the right stone. Some fans believe that Ging used this card to create Gon on his own. The idea is that since Gon's mother is never shown or deeply mentioned anywhere in the series, and because Gon had his own personal ring and binder for Greed Island from the very beginning, He might literally have been born through the game's mechanics, rather than through a normal pregnancy. There are a few significant problems with this theory, though. In the cassette tape message Ging left for Gon, he clearly mentions Gon's mother and even recorded her voice on it. Gon chooses not to listen to the recording, preferring to see Aunt Mito as his real mom. Some fans wonder if Ging was setting up a long-term trick or future twist, where he would eventually reveal in a second recording that he was also the mother. Additionally, if Gon were entirely made of Nen because of the card, it raises complicated questions. For example, how he was able to survive after completely losing his Nen abilities following the Chimera Ant arc. These inconsistencies keep the mystery alive and make it one of the most fascinating unsolved questions in the series. Ging's Nen ability. Ging Freecss' reputation within the Hunter Association is legendary, and the way Netero praises him shows just how skilled he truly is with Nen. However, we still haven't seen his actual Nen abilities in full detail, which has led to a lot of speculation about his true potential and which category he belongs to. We know he has shown serious skill in a mission, such as when he stored his aura inside a tape and gave it the command to self-delete after playing. The aura was still strong enough 10 years later to block a punch from Killua. He has also demonstrated solid enhancement abilities. A great example of his mastery is when he flawlessly copied Leorio's remote punch on the very first try after being hit by it. Ging explained that he can usually mimic other people's attack abilities after experiencing them once, though he noted that this is a natural talent rather than a Nen ability. One popular theory suggests that Ging is a master emitter, whose ability allows him to link his own aura with the aura of his teammates, giving everyone in the group access to each other's aura pools, and making them more proficient in all Nen categories at once. The catch is that this only works with people who fully trust him and are united under a common goal. This theory would explain why Ging is almost always part of a team, whether it's the Zodiacs, the Greed Island creators, or beyond Netero's Dark Continent expedition team. With this kind of ability, combined with his natural talent for recreating Hatsu just from seeing them in action, a team led by Ging could probably accomplish almost anything. A final interesting theory is that Ging might not have a single fixed Hatsu at all. Because of his strong desire for freedom above everything else, he may have rejected the idea of limiting himself to one ability. This refusal to commit could act as a powerful, self-imposed restriction that actually amplifies any technique he copies from others, explaining why he's so good at mimicking attacks he has only seen once. All of these theories paint Ging as an incredibly versatile and dangerous Nen user whose full power we have yet to witness. Kurta Clan. The Kurta Clan plays a major and tragic role in the story as the origin of Kurapika, and the main reason he is so driven to become a hunter. We don't know much about their full history or origins, but we do know they were a small, isolated group of exactly 128 people living peacefully in a beautiful forest in the Luxo province. The Kurta were known worldwide for their stunning scarlet eyes, which become bright red when they experience intense emotions. These eyes were so beautiful and unique that they became highly prized by collectors around the world, turning them into valuable commodities. Unfortunately, because outsiders both feared and coveted the eyes, the Kurta chose to live in complete seclusion to protect themselves. When Kurapika left the village to find a doctor for his friend Pyro, the Phantom Troop attacked without warning and slaughtered the entire clan in order to harvest and sell their scarlet eyes, leaving Kurapika as the only survivor. This horrific event sparked his unbreakable vow for revenge against the spiders and his lifelong mission to recover every stolen eye of his people. Some fans believe there is much more to the Kurta clan than we have been shown so far. One theory claims that the clan elders once killed a woman who accidentally discovered their hidden village, and that woman happened to be connected to the Phantom Troop, which is why the spiders retaliated so brutally. This could explain the note the troop left behind that reads, "We'll accept anything you leave, but don't ever take anything away from us." However, this remains pure speculation. A more intriguing theory suggests that the Kurta clan originally came from the Dark Continent and migrated to the known world long ago. This might explain their unique scarlet eyes trait, the giant birds they used for travel, which resemble creatures found on the Dark Continent, and certain design similarities, such as the eye drop bottle used in their clan trials looking very similar to the architecture of the gates to the New World. If this theory is true, it would add even more depth to the clan's tragic history and connect them directly to the larger mysteries of the series. Gyro. Gyro is the founder and former king of the Neo Green Life Autonomous Region, also known as NGL. His backstory is one of the most captivating and dark ones in the entire series. We see his rough childhood where he was constantly abused by his alcoholic father. Despite the violence, young Gyro still respected his father and believed the brutal upbringing was an act of tough love. But at the age of 12, he discovered that his father didn't care about him at all, and that realization caused him to snap completely. Gyro ended up killing his father and leaving the construction camp they lived in. From that moment, he swore to spread evil across the entire world. He created a powerful new narcotic drug designed to ruin people's lives, worked his way up through the underworld, eventually founded NGL, and became its king, turning the nation into a haven for darkness and crime. However, things took a dramatic turn when he was captured by the Chimera Ants and eaten by the Queen. Gyro's willpower was so incredibly strong that even after being reborn as a Chimera Ant, he retained all of his human memories and managed to break free from the Queen's control. After escaping, he was seen wandering around the area where Gon and Killua were supposed to meet Knuckle and shoot. With his new power as a Chimera Ant, Gyro is now ready to spread his evil plans on an even larger scale. He hasn't been seen since that point, but Welfin believes his king might be planning to start a new nation, possibly in Meteor City. Togashi himself has strongly hinted that Gyro will play a very major role in the future, especially with his new abilities and his ambition to take over entire nations and spread corruption on a global level. Sonata of Darkness. The Sonata of Darkness is a mysterious and terrifying piece of music that is rumored to have been composed by the devil himself. It is said that anyone who plays or even listens to it will suffer a terrible curse. The piece includes solo parts for piano, violin, lyre, harp, and flute. Melody heard the flute solo, which dramatically changed her appearance and gave her an unnatural, heightened sense of hearing that she never asked for. Her friend who actually played the piece died in a gruesome way. Melody has said many times that she would give anything to go back to how she was before hearing the music and regrets the day she ever encountered it. When she tells Kurapika about the sonata, he is initially skeptical, but she rolls up her sleeve to show him the horrifying effect it had on her arm. Kurapika's visible shiver at the sight says everything about how disturbing the curse truly is. Melody is now searching for the deadly musical score so she can destroy it once and for all and prevent others from suffering the same fate. The mystery around the sonata has become clearer since the Dark Continent was introduced. Many fans believe it has a deep connection to that dangerous place. There are strong similarities between the sonata and one of the known calamities called PAP, whose description mentions a trade-off between life and pleasure. Victims of PAP are shrunken down to the size of dolls, and Melody herself looks unusually small, possibly because she only suffered part of the curse's effects. If her arm shows something caused by PAP, it would explain Kurapika's strong reaction. Ging has also mentioned that victims of PAP have been found in the known world, raising the possibility that Melody's friend and others who access the sheet music could be among them. Whether the sonata is directly related to PAP or is its own separate calamity remains one of the most haunting, unsolved questions in the series. Hermit Scroll. Besides the Sonata of Darkness, another mysterious item that fans hope will appear in the story is the Hermit Scroll. Early on, Hanzo mentioned that one of his main reasons for becoming a hunter was to track down this elusive scroll, which is said to be hidden in a country that is closed off to outsiders. Initially, some thought this might refer to NGL, but most fans now believe it is actually connected to the Dark Continent. No one knows exactly what kind of power the Hermit Scroll holds, but it is widely believed to contain secret and powerful ninjutsu techniques, making it an incredibly valuable prize for ninjas like Hanzo. It's possible that Hanzo used his privileges as a hunter to gather information and discovered the scroll's location in the Dark Continent, which could be why he accepted the dangerous job as a bodyguard for one of the Kakin princes, seeing it as his best chance to reach the New World and finally obtain the scroll he has been searching for his entire life. Maha Zoldyck. Maha Zoldyck is said to be around 120 years old and is believed to be Zeno's grandfather. He is the only known person to have fought a young Netero and survived the encounter. That alone speaks volumes about his strength, considering Netero is regarded as one of the strongest Nen users in history. Maha made a brief appearance in the series when he helped Illumi and others take down the 10 Dons. Based on his appearance and demeanor, some fans think his personality and fighting style are quite similar to Killua's. This has led to speculation that Maha might have possessed an ability similar to Godspeed, which could explain how he was able to keep up with Netero in their fights. Interestingly, the 2004 Hunter x Hunter databook originally described Maha as Zeno's father instead of his grandfather, but later chapters confirmed the grandfather relationship. His age and exact place in the family tree may have been adjusted over time, adding another layer of confusion to the Zoldyck family history. Kite's revival. Kite's demise at the hands of Pitu was one of the most shocking and emotional moments in the series, but his reincarnation as a female Chimera Ant was just as surprising. Ging hinted that Kite might have had a special Nen ability that could explain his survival and rebirth. This points directly to his Hatsu called Crazy Slots, specifically the weapon associated with slot number 3 that he rolled right before his death. One popular theory is that slot number 3 is connected to a general reincarnation ability that activates after death through postmortem Nen. This would require a suitable host, and the nearby Chimera Ant Queen turned out to be the perfect one. Another idea is that it allows soul transfer, letting Kite's consciousness move into another body. Since Nen can linger after death, his soul may have accidentally entered the nearby Chimera Ant fetus instead of a human one. This mystery continues to fascinate fans because it raises deep questions about what happens to a person's aura and consciousness after they die. Delon. Delon was a legendary blacksmith known for creating the famous Ben's knives, but there is a dark twist to his story. About 100 years before the current events, he was a knife shop owner who was secretly a serial killer. Every time he murdered someone, he would forge a special knife marked with a number to commemorate the crime. Although he probably wasn't consciously aware of Nen, he somehow infused his aura into these knives during the forging process. That aura still lingers to this day and can be sensed by Nen users or seen through Gyro. Benny mixed these special knives in with his regular stock and created a total of 288 Ben's knives. While in prison, he reportedly said that each of his victims' screams and facial expressions inspired his work. Despite his twisted nature, Benny was such a skilled craftsman that some people viewed him as an artist and even had a cult following. Gon and Killua come across one of his knives at a market in York New City, where they sense the lingering aura. Killua recognizes it immediately as a Ben's knife and mentions that his father Silva is a fan of Benny's work. One of these knives later ends up in the hands of Krallo, who uses it against Silva in a fight. Silva instantly recognizes the knife and its powerful poison, using his own hair as a tourniquet to stop the poison from spreading. So far, we've only seen 2 of the 288 knives in the series, and each one seems to possess its own unique and deadly ability. The fact that the aura remains strong even after so many years suggests that Benny may have been a powerful emitter, or possibly even a specialist. His knives continue to be some of the most dangerous weapons in the known world long after his death. Floor Masters. Floor Masters are the top 21 fighters in Heaven's Arena. Each one gets their own dedicated floor between the 230th and 250th levels. To become a Floor Master, a fighter must win at least 10 matches on the 200th floor, without losing more than 4. After that, they get the chance to challenge an existing Floor Master, and if they win, they take their spot and gain the prestige that comes with it. Floor Masters can also participate in Battle Olympia, a tournament held every 2 years where the winner earns the right to live in a luxurious penthouse on the 251st floor. So far, the only confirmed Floor Masters we've seen in the canon story are Hisoka and Krallo. Hisoka became eligible after defeating Gon, and later claimed a spot by beating an existing Floor Master. Considering how incredibly powerful both Hisoka and Krallo are, it's safe to assume that the other Floor Masters are also extremely dangerous and highly skilled. Some fans theorize that Zigg Zoldyck could have been a former Floor Master, since every member of the Zoldyck family has to fight in Heaven's Arena as part of their training. There are even theories that a young Netero or Wing might have held one of these positions in the past. While we might never meet most of the Floor Masters on screen, they clearly represent the absolute highest level of combat talent and Nen mastery in the known world. And that wraps up our deep dive into these major unsolved Hunter x Hunter mysteries. From advanced Nen techniques and dark backstories to legendary artifacts and hidden family secrets, Togashi has created a world full of endless layers and possibilities that keep fans theorizing for years. Which one of these mysteries interests you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this longer, more detailed breakdown, tell me if you want a part 2 covering even more unsolved questions from the series. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more straight-to-the-point yet in-depth Hunter x Hunter content every week, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Check out the video suggested on your screen next if you want to learn about every Dark Continent mystery explained. We'll see you in the next one.